This is the video on place cells and the hippocampus. The clearest observations linking behavior, memory, and the medial temporal lobe is the hippocampal place cell. The hippocampus has a spatial representation system of place cells. These cells fire in particular locations within the environment. The entorhinal cortex contains another spatial representation system called grid cells, a neural map for self-location within an environment. Between the place cells and the grid cells, one can tell where they are, where they need to go, and how to get there. This all started with rats in a maze. Through the use of fiber optics, thin recording devices can be placed into the hippocampus and the entorhinal cortex of the rat's brain to record the firing sequences of the neurons in these areas. The rats are then placed in a maze. As the rats learn to navigate the maze, certain cells fire at certain times when in the maze. As the animal comes to a decision point, the rat attempts vicarious trial and error behaviors. Their head movements alternate between the potential choices. Once the choice is made, certain place cells are triggered. In the study, this continued as the rat moved through the maze. The rats were then placed in their cages that were then covered. Nap time! As the rats napped, the recordings from the fiber optics continued. It was found that the rats would run through the maze while at rest. This was a repeated pattern of firing that was the same as when they ran the maze. This is assumed to be the consolidation of, or memory of, running the maze. The rats were rehearsing. The next time in the maze, the rats were faster and more accurate. The combination of grid cells and place cells allows the rat to visualize the environment of the maze, the distances to the decision points, and the correct turning. The hippocampal place cells may be formed by summing the incoming information from the grid cells within a range of different spacings, much like a Fourier transform. Who knew rats could do this? The hippocampus has two major functions. The first is its role in storing cognitive maps of the environment and a person's position in that environment. The second is its role in temporary storage of memory. The hippocampus must then send this temporary memory elsewhere for long-term storage. Memories are not stored in the hippocampus for long periods of time, but the hippocampus is necessary for the storage of long-term memories elsewhere in the brain. If the hippocampus is damaged, no new memories can occur. All events that happen after the injury will not be remembered for more than a few minutes. This means the person cannot remember what they ate for breakfast by the time lunch rolls around. However, any memory from before the injury is typically maintained. The person can remember their childhood friends. Long-term memories are not stored in the hippocampus, but the hippocampus directs where the memory is to be stored. This ends the video on place cells and the hippocampus.